It's Dodge for 55. Flashing ahead in style, in value, in performance. Yes, it's the Flair Fashion Dodge for 55. Bringing you the winners of the Academy of Television Arts and Sciences Award, Danny Thomas, Gene Hagen as his wife, and Sherry Jackson and Rusty Hamer as their children. Make room for Daddy!
Where's Rusty? Why can't he be to the table on time?
I don't know where he is. Honey, get your brother, will you?
Rusty!
I could have done that myself.
Here comes a fly! Got it! Got it!
What are you doing?
Got it!
Well, let me get one.
Got it!
I got it.
Got it!
Hey, put
out
out
let me
the
get it.
got it.
Got it.
You're both gonna get it. Sit down. Honestly, Rusty, what's all this about?
I got a practice run going out for the Little League.
Little League, what's that?
You don't know what the Little League is? Don't you read the papers?
What is it?
My dear lady, the Little League. What is it, Rusty?
It's just like the big league, only it's the Little League.
Oh, no wonder your father couldn't explain it. Too complicated.
And that's why I want to thank you and Daddy.
Thank us for what?
Well, to get into the Little League, you have to be between 8 and 12 years old. So I want to thank you and Daddy for me being born 8 years ago.
You're very welcome, but believe me, at the time, we weren't thinking of baseball.
What do you want for breakfast, Slugger?
I'm going to have a steak. It'll give me strength for hitting.
A steak for breakfast?
Medium rare.
As long as I'm paying the bills in this house, you'll eat what I eat.
You just don't want me to make the team.
You mean you're not on it yet?
Of course not. First we have tryouts, and then you got to be bought by a manager.
Somebody buys you?
Uh-huh.
You know, many times I've said I wish I could sell you, but I didn't know there was a market.
Daddy, everybody knows how the Little League works. Every manager watches the tryouts and bids for the best players. They can spend up to $36,000.
Sold. Come on, get your hat.
Okay. Sit down. Honestly, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. Selling your own son for $36,000.
Excuse me.
If you hold out, we might be able to get 40.
It isn't real money, it's just on paper.
Just on paper?
Like my allowance, honey.
You know, Mom, I hope I get on the Giants.
Oh?
Bill Baldwin's father is their manager, and Harvey Halpern's father is their trainer. And they both used to be ball players.
Well, they're all set, huh?
But they don't have a coach yet.
Why don't you ask me?
Ask you what?
Ask me to be coach.
Oh, you gotta be kidding.
What kind of crack is that?
Daddy, it's been years since you played baseball.
So what? How long is it going to take me to get into shape? I got an idea.
What?
You know that lot I bought over on 101st Street?
Oh, do I know it? I wish I could forget it. Why you ever bought that lot, I'll never know.
Oh, will you cut that out? There's going to be something big on that lot someday.
There's something big on that lot right now, the taxes.
Never mind. Anyhow, I'll clean away the rocks and the weeds, and I'll practice pitching and fielding and batting and sliding. I'll be in shape in no time.
Daddy, how do you know they'll even let you be coach?
How do I know? What's such a big deal about it? I'll go down and tell them I want to be coach.
You can't. It's just like the big leagues. The manager and trainer of the Giants are meeting today after practice to pick the players, and that's when they're going to pick the coach, too.
So what's going to stop them from picking me?
Oh, Daddy, you couldn't coach.
Is that so? Who taught you how to swim?
Mother.
Well, who taught you how to dive?
Cherry.
Well, I bought you the trunks, didn't I?
Certainly did, and they were a size too large.
Well, who put the towel around him when he came out of the pool?
All right, eat your breakfast.
Nevertheless, I'm going down to that meeting today and give those fellas the opportunity of a lifetime to have me for coach. I think I'll have a steak. Medium rare. Rusty didn't make the Giants?
Sorry, Mr. Williams, but I'm afraid not. Besides, we've used up our 36,000 credit.
this it's really gonna hurt the kid. I mean, he had his heart set on it.
Sorry.
Look, I wouldn't want him to know about it, but suppose I loan you some money so you could put in a bid.
I beg your pardon?
I mean, what do you figure he's worth? Like $10? $5? $1.50?
Mr. Williams.
An old Tootsie Roll?
Danny, we don't use real money. It's a point system.
Each manager gets 36,000 points to buy players with. You see, the competition is tough.
Well, that's because I haven't had a chance to polish him up. I mean, well, I'm an actor. I don't get around to playing baseball and stuff like that anymore, but in the old days, I really had it. I'll make a pitcher out of him. You put me on as coach, and I guarantee you'll have a pitcher on your hands. I'll show him that knuckler of mine. I used to throw a knuckler in the old days.
Danny, honestly, we understand your problem. We went through this when our boys were younger. And as for you being the coach, well, it's like I told you. We need a man with experience. Now, come on, sit down, be a good guy. We got some more business to take care of, and we'll talk about it a little bit later on, all right?
Sure.
Thanks very much. George, what about that ball field? Able to find anything?
You know, I've looked all over this section for a ball field. No luck.
Well, how about that vacant lot over on 101st Street? I thought you were going to lease it.
Well, I asked about it. But the real estate man said that some crazy actor picked it up a couple years ago. He won't let anybody touch it. He says he's going to get something big on it someday.
We need that lot, and it's so near to us. I'd give anything for that lot.
Anything?
That's right, Please, Mr. Williams, if you don't mind.
Well, you ought to be careful the way you address the crazy actor.
You own that lovely lot?
Yep. By a strange coincidence, I do.
Oh, no.
Look, fellas, the way I see it, the important thing about baseball, as far as his little leaguers is concerned, is not how good they can play, but how much they enjoy the game and how much it means to them to play. Maybe my boy is no Mickey Mantle, but there's nothing in the world he wants more than to be on your club and wear your uniform. And I'd like to help him do it. Now, how badly do you want that lot?
Don't just sit there. Get the coach a chair.
Hi, Mommy.
Oh, hi, sweetheart. You home already?
Yep. Daddy thought we had enough practice. He didn't want us to go still. Hey, is that my uniform?
Yeah, uh-huh.
Oh, boy, let me try it right on.
Okay. Come on, sweetheart. We better see about dinner. Oh, hi, honey.
Hi.
Anything the matter?
Why, look like something's the matter? Ow! I was teaching the kids how to slide.
Well, you always said you'd have something big on that lot someday.
Ha-ha. Ow.
Was it a tough session, Daddy?
No. Kids did all right, but they still got a lot to learn. I was teaching them how to catch flies, and I had one of them pitch to me so I could hit some out.
How many did they catch?
Not one.
Huh? Why not?
I didn't hit any. I struck out 14 times.
How do I look, everybody?
Is that the way it's supposed to fit?
Oh, my. It's a little roomy, isn't it?
Leave it, Mother. I'm still developing.
Honey, I don't think you can develop that much in one season.
Well, I can try.
Come on, Russ. We got to be in shape for the big game tomorrow. Oh. Come on, how about that rub down?
I want to eat first.
Rusty, the rub down is important.
Okay, come on. I'll give it to you.
Oh, that was a great game, guys. 6 home runs in 1 inning. So you lost by the skin of your teeth.
Yeah, 32-12.
Oh, look, one more inning and you'd have beat him.
We'll never win the pennant.
I bet we won't even win one game. Maybe they'll give us the pennant for that.
Ah, fellas, don't feel that way. You know, we're only weak in one spot.
High spot. We'll get him next time. All we need is practice, eh, fellas? Oh, I need practice.
That's all right, son. Just leave your gear here and you go wash up with the rest of them. Well?
Well, what?
Why did you start Rusty at shortstop?
What's the matter with that? He only made 7 errors.
Yeah, on one play.
I never saw anything like it. Dropped the ball 6 times.
You gotta admit that was a great throw he made, though.
To left field.
And what made you come up with the brilliant strategy to let him pitch that 1 inning?
Oh, you know it's every kid's ambition. To be a pitcher, I promised I'd give him a chance.
Danny, you shouldn't have done it.
Why not? Didn't you hear that crowd cheer when he threw that first ball?
Why wouldn't they? Beaned the umpire.
13 walks in a row. Danny, I don't mind a boy being wild, but we can't even find 4 of the baseball.
All right, so Rusty goofed a little. What are you making a federal case out of it? You'll be better next week, I promise you that.
Danny, can we talk to you seriously about a problem we've got?
Sure, Bill, sure.
Well, as you know, we've got to cut the squad down to 15 men. Some of the boys have got to go to the minors. And in view of what happened today out there in that ball diamond...
Just a minute. We have an agreement, remember? We made a deal. I gave you the field, Rusty got to play. With me, the deal still goes. All right, so I'll keep him on the bench. Use him for a pinch hitter once in a while.
What could he hit?
He hit the umpire. Look, fellas, I'm sorry, but I just can't ask Russ to turn in his uniform. It'd break his heart.
All right, Danny. You're our coach. We've got 18 boys on that team. 3 of them must be sent down to the minors. You drop them. Let's go.
Let's go, Daddy. I'm all washed up.
Remember, you said it, not me.
You know, they say that a salesman should never knock his product. But the Dodge people know that one of the best ways to convince folks about Dodge is to knock it, like this. That knuckle test is a quick, sure way to find out how really solid a car is. And let me tell you, they just don't come any more solid than the new Dodge. Here's a car that not only looks big and rugged, but is, all the way through. You know, wherever you look on a new Dodge, you see evidences of superior engineering, materials, and construction. Take the rear door, for example. You know, of all the new cars, only Dodge has gone to the trouble of designing a full rear door without any cutout here. That means not only added convenience getting in and out, but also tighter door closing and the safety of added body strength. Believe me, it's as solid as it sounds. And Dodge gives you solid engine performance, too. Not only for a fast getaway at the lights, but for lasting year-in, year-out dependability. That's why Dodge in its class achieved the almost incredible feat of taking first, second, third, and fourth places in the toughest stock car race ever held, the 1,900-mile Pan American Road Race. And Dodge staying power is further proved by winning more AAA performance records than any other stock engine ever built. Now, of course, there are many down-to-earth reasons for buying a Dodge this year. The all-new Dodge look, the fact that Dodge is the longest, largest, and yet lowest price car in its field, and the fact that your Dodge dealer is now offering unprecedented trade-in values. But as always, the most important reason for choosing Dodge is its complete dependability, proved in over 41 years of superior service. So, help yourself to the solid satisfaction of a new Dodge, the car that's built to last, not just to get by.
Hi, sweetheart.
We lost.
Oh, that's too bad. Let's take off this jacket, honey. You look hot.
Was it a close game, Russell?
Yep, we both played the same number of innings.
Honey, where's your father?
He stopped off at Johnny Anderson's apartment to tell me he's being dropped from the team.
Oh.
Are they keeping you, Russ?
I don't know yet, and we're not supposed to ask till we're told.
Oh, well, I don't think you have too much to worry about, honey. I hear the coach is a very nice guy.
Did you get many home runs, Rusty?
I didn't try for any homers today.
Well, did you make any great plays at shortstop?
We're not supposed to brag.
That's right, Terry. Ball players aren't supposed to talk about themselves.
Well, we could keep it in the family. Come on, Russ. How many hits did you get?
I didn't get any, but I'll do better next time.
Well, of course you will, sweetheart. And no wonder you couldn't play. Look at this uniform. It doesn't even fit you.
It's not the uniform's fault. That was the only part of me that was any good.
Poor little baby. I've never seen him so subdued.
You know, he must have been pretty awful.
Yeah.
I bet he played like Daddy. Well, I'll go make him a milkshake. That ought to cheer him up.
Thanks, Andy. Oh, hi, dear.
We got any iodine in the house?
What happened? Did you cut yourself?
No, just give me a bottle and a straw.
Honey, what's the matter?
Nothing. I'm as happy as a lark. I'm as cheerful as a nightingale. I am participating in America's great national pastime.
Sandy, did you get hit on the head with a pitched ball or something?
No, that was the umpire.
What's wrong?
Look, I am the coach of the Coast Hardware Giants.
I know.
I have to drop my squad from 18 to 15 players.
So?
I have been left on my honor to choose 3 sacrificial lambs to be shipped to the miners, to the 84th Street Orioles. And number 1 on my shipping list is, guess who? Your son.
No.
Yes, Russell C. Williams, pitcher, catcher, shortstop, third baseman, and bum.
Danny Williams, you are not going to walk in that room and tell Rusty that he's being dropped.
You're absolutely right. You're going to do it.
I am not. For heaven's sake, you're the coach. It's simple. All you have to do is find 3 boys that play worse than Rusty and send them.
You're new here, aren't you? In the whole world, there aren't 3 boys who are worse than Rusty at baseball.
I don't care. You're not going to drop them.
Look, honey, I had a tough enough time today dropping 2 little kids that deserved to be dropped. Now, you want me to face some kid that deserves to stay on the team and tell him he's being dropped? Why, so Rusty can walk the next 16 batters to face him? Come on, honey, let's be honest about this. What if it was your son that was being cheated?
Baseball. Why does it have to be such an honorable game? Why couldn't you have taught him to shoot pool or something?
Believe me, as soon as he's tall enough to reach the table. Busy, son?
Not very.
That's quite a thing you got there. Look, I'd like to talk to you. Russ, you know, there comes a time when a man must face the hard, cold realities of life. When a man must, well, show his mettle, the stuff he's made of.
You mean I'm going to the miners tomorrow?
You just saved yourself a half hour of dull conversation.
Do I have to go?
Well, what do you think?
I didn't mean to hit the umpire.
That had nothing to do with it, son.
Maybe I could stay. I'm so awful I can only get better.
Look, Russ, in the minors, you'll be playing with kids your own age, your own size. You'll have a better chance, and believe me, you'll learn to play good baseball.
It's no use, Daddy. I'll never learn to play baseball.
Oh, now what kind of talk is that? That's not my son that's talking like that, is it? Hey, you remember the matinee I took you to last week? Remember the show on Broadway?
You mean the darn Yankees?
That's close enough. Anyway, remember when the players were all downhearted and the coach came in and he sang to them? Remember that song? You gotta have heart. All you really need is heart. When the odds are saying you'll never win, that's when the grin should start. You gotta have hope. Mustn't sit around and mope. Nothing's half as bad as it may appear. Wait till next year and hope. Hey, Russ, when your luck is batting zero, lift your chin up off the floor. Why, mister, you can be a hero. You can open any door. There's nothing to it but to do. You gotta have heart. Miles and miles and miles of heart. Oh, it's fine to be a genius, of course, but keep the old horse before the cart. First you gotta have heart.
I'll go to the miners.
I'm really proud of Rusty, honey.
What'd you expect? You're always a chip off the old block. He can take it as well as dish it out. You know, that's what I like about coaching with this little league. You get a chance to build character, teach good sportsmanship. I get it. Guys, don't worry about Russ. I'll have my scouts keep an eye on him. Gets to be good enough, he'll be back in his old man's team in the big time.
Hiya, Denny.
Well, come on in. How are you?
Glad to see you, Dan.
Oh,
Hello, Billy.
Good evening, Mr.
Hey,
Evening,
good
would
to
you
see
gentlemen
you.
care for coffee?
No,
Let's have dinner, thanks.
How about, let me pour you some coffee.
No.
Sure?
Want to sit down?
Sit down,
Thank you.
Danny, first we want to congratulate you on the integrity of sending your own son to the minors.
Not at all. After all, a coach's interest's got to be the team, you know.
Oh, and one thing, don't worry about Rusty playing in the minors. We now have protective headgear for the umpires.
By the way, Danny, we happen to have an opportunity to get some great coaching help.
Well, I don't mind having an assistant if he's competent. Throw me some names.
Joe DiMaggio.
Who else?
Well, seriously, Joe has moved into the neighborhood, and he said he'd be very glad to give us some help.
You don't mind, do you?
No, he might be helpful.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, dear.
Look, if you fellas think I need an assistant, it's all right with me.
Yeah, but Danny, there's one little hitch. Under our Little League rules, we can only have one coach.
Well, that's too bad. I could have used Joe.
And under the circumstances, we felt that, well, you wouldn't mind going down to the minors for a bit.
Me? Me, the miners?
Where do you get that stuff? A man of my experience? You want in the minors? Who do you think you're talking to?
Just a minute.
Don't get excited. Just a minute. Bear in mind, gentlemen, your team is playing on my property. And if the manager's going to get my job, he better look out for the traffic rounding third, because I'll sell that field for a parking lot.
And now a word from our alternate sponsor, Pall Mall Famous Cigarettes.
There's news you'll remember in my Pall Mall song. The flavor's delicious, so mild, never strong. Enjoy smoother smoking that's just sweet enough. Get freshly lit flavor in puff after puff. Pall Mall, choose well. Smoke longer and finer and milder Pall Mall. It's finer tobacco that filters so well and adds to the pleasure you get from Pall Mall. Self-filtering action and quality high. Gives smooth, gentle mildness when Pall Mall you buy. Pall Mall, Pall Mall. Smoke longer and finer and milder Pall Mall.
Reward yourself with the pleasure of smooth smoking. Pleasure Pack Pall Mall gives you smoothness, mildness, and satisfaction no other cigarette can offer. Pall Mall Famous Cigarettes, outstanding, and they are mild.
Sandy, get me the Acme Real Estate Company, will you, dear? Yeah, Acme. I think it's on Broadway somewhere. I'll wait.
You gotta have heart. All you really need is heart.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Acme. Yes, dear.
You gotta have heart. All you really need is...
Hello? Hello. Acme Real Estate? Look, this is Danny Williams. I'd like to come down and talk to you about a lot I've got for sale. Piece of property, 101st Street. But I want to stipulate that it has to be sold as a parking lot. Can you get me such a customer?
You gotta have heart. Miles of heart.
Oh, it's hard to be a genius, of course. And keep that old horse before the car. First you gotta have. First you gotta have.
Wait a minute.
First you gotta have.
All right. I'll go to the minors.
I'm
Good
proud
boy,
of you,
Daddy.
sweetheart.
Don't worry, I'll pitch for your team.
We'll be back next week for Pall Mall Famous Cigarettes, folks. This week, drop in at your nearby Dodge dealer and get a real close-up look at the most stylish new automobile in America, the flare-fashioned new Dodge.
It'll take your breath away.
Good night.
For Daddy is presented alternately by Pall Mall Famous Cigarettes and the dependable Dodge dealer in your neighborhood. The American Tobacco Company.
sold American.
The American Tobacco Company, America's leading manufacturer of cigarettes. Lucky Strike. Pall Mall. Herbert Tarrington with the genuine cork tip presents Danny Thomas. Gene Hagen as his wife, with Sherry Jackson and Rusty Hamer as their children, in Make Room for Daddy.
Here's a suggestion you shouldn't forget. When you choose the right girl, choose the right cigarette. For those moments of pleasure when dancing's been swell, relax and enjoy yourself. Light a Pall Mall, Pall Mall, Pall Mall. Smoke longer and finer and milder, Pall Mall.
Pall Mall is longer, yes, but greater length is only half the story. Fine tobacco is its own best filter, and Pall Mall tobaccos are the finest quality money can buy. And look how Pall Mall's greater length travels the smoke further, filters the smoke naturally and makes it mild. In fact, your appreciation of Pall Mall quality has made it America's most successful and most imitated cigarette. Choose well. Smoke Pall Mall. Pall Mall famous cigarettes, outstanding. And they are mild.
What kind of a mother are you, leaving your children with that old lady quinine or whatever her name is?
Her name is Miss Quincy, and you know it.
Quincy, she looks more like a sour apple to me.
Well, maybe she does look a little stern, but she's a fine governess, and she comes to us highly recommended.
Well, that's great, a governess for my kids. All I can say is if Rusty's pals catch him acting like little Lord Fauntleroy, his blood is on your hands.
Honey, I know you had a difficult childhood, but you were brought up in a society where it didn't matter if your manners were a little rough.
What do you mean it didn't matter? It was compulsory.
That's it. That is just what I mean. That's just the kind of talk that made me realize that we needed a governess. And the way you've been telling the children stories about the games you used to play when you were a kid.
What's the matter with the games we played?
Hitting people over the head with a shovel and then betting a penny which way they'd fall. Look, honey, you're a very successful man, and we live in a different world. Our children can grow up to be accepted in the finest circles.
Even me?
That's right, sweetheart, even you. That's why I hired Miss Quincy to look after you from now on.
You mean Miss Sour Apple?
You and your forstunken a childhood.
Mother, aren't you going to a lot of unnecessary expense? Grandma could stay with us while you're in Boston with Daddy.
Sure, it's only going to be for a week. Grandma could stay.
Look, it's not a question of getting someone for a week. Miss Quincy's going to be here from now on. And maybe she can teach you children some manners and deportment and respect for property.
Gee, Mother, just because we broke a cookie jar.
Look, that's not the point. It's the principle of the thing. And speaking of breaking things, I'd better put this lamp up while we're gone so you don't break it.
What are you worried about that old lamp for?
It's not an old lamp. It's a piece of pottery that's been in my family for years and years. My grandma gave it to me when I was just a little girl. And that's another thing Miss Quincy can teach you. Respect for tradition.
Teresa, you didn't finish your milk. And Russell, you left an egg stain on the tablecloth. Now, I'll overlook it this time, but you must be more careful in future. Oh, Mrs. Williams, you needn't worry. When you return, you'll find they'll have made remarkable progress in both etiquette and diction as well. Are we in accord, children? Why don't we answer?
Believe me, you're better off this way.
Well, I'll go and tidy up the kitchen.
Well, I'll go and tidy up the kitchen.
Rusty! For heaven's sake, you stop that. What's the matter with you anyway? Miss Quincy's so nice. Why are you so unpleasant to her all the time?
Well, why can't you speak English like the rest of us?
Because she speaks English correctly.
Gee, Mother, why don't we have Grandma Julia stay with us like she always does?
Because Miss Quincy's going to stay with you, and that's that.
What have you got against your own mother?
When Grandma takes care of you, she lets you run all over. When I come home, what do I find? A bunch of wild Indians.
Sometimes we're firemen.
All right.
Once we were pirates.
What are you snickering at?
I remember that time he had your earrings in his nose.
Oh, get that, will you, dear?
Ah, you're worrying about nothing. Hello, Slugger.
Hello, dear.
Hey, kid.
Hello, Mother. Hello, Margaret. Well, Rusty, dear, you grow a little more every day.
You were fooling us when you said Grandma wasn't coming, weren't you, Mommy?
Oh, you expected me, didn't you? You said you were going to Boston today to stay for a week, so, well, naturally, I came over to stay with the children. Did you change your plans?
Why don't you say something?
You laid it, you hatch it.
I'd have been disappointed if you hadn't said that. Look, Mother, you see, when I called you and I told you that we were going to Boston for a week, Mother
had a governess. And you should see her. Yipes.
A governess?
The real thing.
Are we in a college, children?
Now, you cut that out. Look, Mother, it was just that we didn't want to impose, that's all.
Impose? Margaret, I'm their grandmother, whether you know it or not. I look forward to the time when I can have them all by myself.
Mrs. Williams, you're going to miss your plane.
Oh, thank you, Miss Quincy. Danny, hurry up, dear. Bring my coat.
Come now, children. It's time to kiss our mother and father and be off about our work.
Miss Quincy, this is my mother, Mrs. Summers. Mother, Miss Quincy is going to be in charge of the children from now on.
Oh.
Yes.
How'd you do?
The children and I are looking forward to a delightful week of self-instruction and improvement. Are we in accord, children?
Maybe you are, not me.
Quincy, that reminds me. Here's the key to the cookie jar. I locked it in the cupboard. You better keep your eye on that. Rusty's addicted to cookies.
Yeah, we were thinking of having them join CA. That's Cookies Anonymous. It's a joke.
Well, I guess we'd better be running along. We'll be late.
Goodbye, Mother. Have a nice trip.
Thank you, sweetheart. Goodbye. Now, you be a good boy, and you mind Miss Quincy, all right? Come along, Mother. Come along, dear. We'll drop you at your apartment.
I don't think so. I've decided to stay after all.
What?
I could use a spot of discipline myself.
But, Mother!
Are we in accord, children?
Well, I'm sorry, Miss Quincy. It looks like there'll be 3 children instead of 2. Bye.
Well, you children have made a fine mess at the kitchen. What's this?
Oh, he's a mama doll.
A mama doll?
Yes, you want to see?
Mama!
That's ridiculous.
Can you do it?
Rusty, no conversation. You're a mama doll. He's learned to say mama, walk, sit down, turn his head, and drink from a bottle.
Let's see if you can go to sleep.
I haven't learned that one yet.
Well, you're going to learn it now. And promptly.
Oh, please, Miss Quincy. Let us stay up just a little longer. It's really early.
For 4 days now, you children have had the run of the house just because your grandmother's here. And thank goodness she's out now and you're going straight to bed.
Can't I see television?
Certainly not. I'm through pampering you children. I'm going to lock you up in this room until the morning.
Well, suppose the building catches fire.
Don't worry, it won't.
Not even if I started?
Russell, that's just the kind of behavior I've been complaining about. Now, perhaps if you remain in here under lock and key, you'll know that I mean business.
I'll get it.
If it's the fire department, tell them I didn't mean it.
Grandma! Oh, Grandma!
Boy, am I glad to see you.
Oh, my goodness. Well. What's the reason for this overdose of appreciation, huh?
You just saved us from jail.
I thought you were going out.
I was out, but I came back. Why?
Well, it's most upsetting when you return just when the children are going to bed.
She wants us to go to bed and we're not even sleeping.
We weren't even thinking of getting sleepy.
That's quite enough out of you two.
She was going to lock us up.
Like criminals.
What?
And set fire to us.
Oh, now just a minute.
She's got the key to the cookie jar and she's starving us out.
The children misbehaved, and I merely wanted to show them that I'm not one to be trifled with.
Oh, now, Miss Quincy, I'm sure we can work this out.
Yes, we can, if you stop interfering and allowing them to do just as they please. I wish you could see that kitchen, the mess it's in. And who's going to clean it up?
Well, now, ladies and gentlemen, the kitchen cleaning squad will now board the 20th Century Limited and go out in the kitchen and clean up the mess, huh?
Oh, good. I'll be the engine.
And I'll be the tender.
Uh-huh.
And Grandma, you be the cattle car.
I will not. I'll be the mail car.
All right. And Miss Quincy, you can be the caboose.
I'll be no part of anything so foolish.
Oh, break down, Quincy. A caboose might be an improvement.
Pick up the mailbag.
Woo! Right, gotcha!
When the big fish is hooked and you finally land him, reward yourself with the pleasure of smooth smoking. Smoke longer and finer and milder Pall Mall. Pall Mall is longer, yes, but greater length is only half the story. Fine tobacco is its own best filter, and Pall Mall tobaccos are the finest quality money can buy. And look how Pall Mall's greater length travels the smoke further, filters the smoke naturally and makes it mild. In fact, your appreciation of Pall Mall quality has made it America's most successful and most imitated cigarette. It's your cigarette. Fine tobacco blended to a flavor peak, distinctively Pall Mall. So reward yourself with a smoothness, mildness, and satisfaction no other cigarette can offer you. Buy Pall Mall famous cigarettes. Outstanding. And they are mild.
Well, I'm not one to complain, but I've never experienced anything like it. A complete lack of discipline. And then the next day, the same thing again. No one trying to curb those children. Oh, they are just dreadful. How they ever get on at school, I will never know.
They get on very well, if you'd like to know. And they continue to get on well if you leave them unlocked for a while.
Oh, now, Mother,
please.
that's all of
Margaret, I will not
make those children little darlings.
I will not enter into a contest with Miss Quincy.
Mother, I don't want you to, but if I say anything, you'll get it all mixed up with loving you and not loving you. And, frankly, Mother, you do spoil the children, and they do take advantage of you.
Oh, I see.
You let them get away with anything. I know you don't mean to, but you can't help it. You're their grandmother. You don't have to live with them all the time.
Well, why don't you just ask me to leave?
Oh, I knew it. I knew you'd take offense.
Well, I can also take a hint.
What?
Just remember this, Margaret. Kids are kids. That's what they are, and the worst thing that can happen to them is that they grow up to be adults.
Well, I should hate to see a child she raised.
Thank you very much. You were a big help, weren't you? You let me battle it out all by myself while you sat there like a lump.
For me? If I'd have said anything, you'd have said, oh, shut up.
The least you could do is make a suggestion. I need your help.
Yeah, get rid of Miss Quincy.
Oh, shut up.
That's what I thought. I'm not one, and I'm going home to your mother.
Oh, no,
Well, it was so sweet of you children to visit me. But I think you'd better go home because it's getting dark.
Well, why don't you come with us?
I'd love to, dear, but, I have a million things to do.
If you come back, I'll let you be the engine on the train.
Rusty.
And you can make new hymns on all my skirts and play my bop records.
I'd love to, dear, but, I just made a previous date.
Now, Grandma, you don't fool us one bit. We know you love to come and stay, but you and Mommy had an argument about us, didn't you?
Well, dear, every mother in the world, when she's tired or worried or upset, wishes her children behaved like perfect little angels, never speaking out of turn, never shouting, never breaking anything, never behaving like children.
Mean doing just what Miss Quincy tells them?
That's right. And I'll bet if their children did exactly what Miss Quincy told them to do, perhaps if they did every little thing Miss Quincy told them to do, maybe their parents might start to wonder what was wrong. Maybe they might call up their grandma and ask her to come over and make children out of them again.
Grandma. Are you suggesting a plan of battle?
I'm just thinking out loud, dear. But, of course, if someone should overhear me and be smart enough to know what I'm talking about, well, that isn't my fault, is it?
Grandma, you're worse than we are. Good morning, Mother. Good morning, Father.
Good morning, Mother dear. Good morning, Father dear.
Teresa, dear.
Thank you, Russell dear. Russell dear.
Thank you, Teresa, dear. Teresa, dear.
Thank you, Russell dear.
Okay, let's stop the perpetual motion, huh? Stop kidding. Or are you kidding? Will you look at that suit? This is where he dresses for school? Where does he go? Mrs. Penelope's for girls?
Well, Miss Quincy says that those suits are the smartest thing this season.
Kid, if that suit were really smart, it'd jump right off of him right now before it gets rolled in the mud.
Beg pardon, sir. Russell is no barbarian.
That's right, honey. I'm sure Rusty knows better than that.
Indeed I do, Mother.
Tut, Father. Tut, tut.
Tut what?
We were given tongues so that we could ask for what we want.
Well, my tongue doesn't want anything, but I would like the salt. Thanks a lot.
Well, now, what would you children like for breakfast? Some crackly pops or oatsy bits?
Oh, Mother, you needn't trouble yourself on our account. We'll have whatever you're having.
Hey, let's not carry this thing too far, huh?
Wait, Russ, I'll get the seeds out of your orange juice.
I can handle it very well myself, Peter.
Peter, now, tell you, stop fooling around. What do you want, oatsy bits or crackly pops?
I'll leave that up to you, Peter.
Don't call me Peter! One more Peter out of you, and I'll pay you where you haven't been patered lately.
Attempt to protect the Father. We were only trying to behave in a manner that will reflect credit on the Williams name.
It's all right to behave, but you don't have to do a scene from Wuthering Heights.
Sorry you're offended, Father.
I'm not offended. And I don't want to hear any more of this highfalutin talk either.
My most humble apology.
Yeah, how about that? Look at that. Russ? A Brooklyn Bridge with a car going across. Isn't that something?
Splendid, old man.
You mean splendid? Don't you want to help me make something? Let's make a truck, huh?
No, you do it by yourself. It will be educational.
Terry, honey, did you see this new little doll I got? I made a cute dress for her. It'll look cute in your collection. Can I help me with it?
Oh, no, Mother. If you want to relive your childhood, I wouldn't dream of interfering.
Anybody want to play with us? I know. How about charades?
Yeah.
And neglect our homework?
Miss Quincy would never allow that.
Let's play the limerick game.
Oh, yeah, kids,
Do the
you'll
one from
love
Hopper.
it.
The lady from Hopper.
The lady from
Watch
Hopper.
this, kids.
You haven't
Watch
seen
this.
it.
Limerick. I don't think you've seen it. There was a little girl from Hopper, in love with a bow-legged copper. When on his lap, she would sit right through his bow legs. He'd drop her.
Isn't that cute, honey? Do you want to play that Russ with me? Huh?
Amusing.
But a little childish.
Come, children, it's bedtime.
Already?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes, it is. Well, good night, Father dear. Good night, Mother dear.
Good night, Mother dear. Good night, old boy.
This is pretty ridiculous, this whole thing. You're not children, you're robots.
Calm yourself.
You're behaving badly.
Oh, yeah, well, you're behaving ridiculously.
Mrs. Williams, I'm surprised at you. The boy's a perfect model of deportment.
Deportment, my eye. He's not even a human being. He's acting like a monster.
Oh, do you realize you're talking about your own son?
Please don't contradict my mother. If she says I'm a monster, I'm a monster.
Now look, Miss Quincy.
Just a minute. It's high time the father of this family took over. Now, see here, Miss Quincy. I only went along with this governess thing just because my wife tried to convince me that the children should have a better childhood than I had. Believe me, if I had this kind of childhood, I'd have been too discouraged to grow up.
And what makes you think you have grown up?
Miss Quincy, you're fired.
What?
Oh, I beg your pardon. You're discharged.
I resign.
In that case, I hire you again so I can fire you again. Now, you'll get 2 weeks extra pay, so do me a favor and go someplace else and make icicles.
I certainly will.
Just a minute. Turn in the key to the cookie jar. Thanks a lot. Dusty, here's the key to the cupboard. In the cupboard is the cookie jar. Now go be 7 years old. Eat till you bust. Harry, call your grandmother right away. Tell her I want to hear the first thing in the morning. Boy, will she be surprised.
She sure will. I told her to come over tonight.
Daddy!
What's the matter?
It's Miss Quincy. She ate all the cookies.
And now a word from our alternate sponsor, your dependable Dodge dealer.
In most families, do-it-yourself really means do it together. Pleasures shared are twice the fun. A new Dodge, not just for the family, but in the family, can make this season a time you'll never forget. Suddenly, you think of more places to go because going is more fun. Off again. Where to this time? Oh, yes, down this road, if you can call it a road. It leads to a delightful picnic spot. A little rough to get to unless you have a Dodge. For Dodge Oriflow shock absorbers literally eat up jolts and bumps. And safe, dependable Dodge brakes ease you downhill, just as the surging power of the mighty Dodge lets you climb hills with ease. Yes, a Dodge is a part of the family, a new experience in living. For here, in the mighty new Dodge, beauty and performance come alive.
Oh, hi, Mother. Hello, Margaret. Well, I hear
hear you made sauce out of old sour apple.
Oh, now, Mother, you needn't sound so smug about it. I'm still not going to let the children run wild.
Now, exactly what do you mean by that?
It means that they are going to learn to accept the responsibilities that go with growing up.
Oh, poppycock. If they can't afford to shirk responsibilities, what's the good of being young?
Oh, now, look, Mother, I thought we talked that all out.
When are you going to take my mother's lamp down off that cabinet?
Well, that's it. That's just my point. I had to put it up there when we left so that the kids wouldn't break it.
You're very fond of that lamp, aren't you?
You know I am. Grandma gave this to me when I was just a little girl.
You know what it is?
It's an heirloom, isn't it?
Heirloom, my eye. It's an old cookie jar.
What?
The one you knocked down off the shelf and broke 3 times when you were about 6 years old.
Me?
Oh, you were a holy terror, didn't you know that? Grandma finally gave up and glued it together and made a lamp of it.
What for?
That's what I said. I was all for spanking you. But Grandma said, no, it belongs to Margaret. 3 times gives her permanent possession. She's won it fair and square.
Now, wait a minute, Mother. I know I was an active child, but to be destructive... 3 times? I didn't remember that.
Of course you didn't. Or the many times I fought with her because I thought she was spoiling you. Oh, Margaret, someday your little Terry will grow up and get married, and maybe she'll have a little daughter. And if I'm not around then, will you do me a favor?
What's that?
Will you give Terry the lamp?
Mother, I'm sorry.
Oh, darling. Oh, let them alone a little longer. Take a chance. Look at the chance I took with you.
It's Daddy. Oh, he's after me again.
He busted the cookie jar.
You break that cookie jar once more, you're going to win permanent possession of it.
What kind of bringing up is that? It's okay to spoil a kid, but you don't have to go too far, you know. Gotta see the kitchen, it's a mess.
Look here, ladies and gentlemen. The kitchen cleaning squad is now going to get on the 20th Century Limited and go out in the kitchen and clean up the mess, huh?
Oh, good. I'll be the engine.
I'll be the tender car.
You be the cattle car, Margaret.
All right, here we go.
Folks, before saying goodnight, I'd like to remind you that the program tonight was brought to you by the American Tobacco Company, America's leading manufacturer of cigarettes. Lucky Strike, Pall Mall, and Herbert Territon with the genuine cork tip. We'll be looking for you next week when we'll be back for the dependable Dodge dealer in your neighborhood. Good night.
Is presented alternately by your dependable Dodge dealer and Pall Mall Famous Cigarettes, a product of the American Tobacco Company, America's leading manufacturer of cigarettes.